Hello everybody, this is Triumwir412 back at long last to look at a game I played a year and a half or so ago, Errare Humanum Est Volume 1. I played as Austria. My original plan was sort of a Mediterranean domination idea, so I wanted to of course take my share of the Balkans, a few of them, and then really work against the people who had the ability to build fleets in the Mediterranean. So that would be Italy, also Turkey, the southernmost Russian center, which can build fleets that can make it into the Mediterranean, and then France with their ability to build in Marseille, probably taking my last two out of Iberia. So that is kind of the look I was going for, those 18. We will see how that worked out for me. I have fairly good relationships with most of my neighbors right off the bat, with the glaring exception being Italy. He had told me he was going after France in his first move, planning to move to Piedmont. Obviously that is not what he does. Moves into Tyrolia instead. So I have to deal with that attack right off the bat, but luckily my other neighbors are playing nice. Russia and I decide to stand off in Galicia. Turkey and I are on good terms, and as a matter of fact, because of the Italian attack, Turkey and I become even closer friends. You see in the fall I offer to support Turkey into Greece. Notice that Italy attempts to take Greece, and I hold him out of Trieste, which means Italy, even with his bold attack in the spring of '01, does not get any builds, which was pretty great for me. And you also see the beginning of a Russian-Turkish war down here, also really great for me. Better Turkey and Russia are fighting than they ally themselves in the Juggernaut Alliance and roll over me. Also of note, in the first year, you see here German units not moving at all in the fall of '01. Germany was NMR, France taking advantage of that right away. I'm able to leave Trieste open. You see Italy attacks with 2, and I kind of defend it by attacking with 2. So it's open, so I can build a fleet if I want, but because of Russia's move into Galicia, I decide not to do that. I build an army in Budapest. I thought my army there would have better chances of defending Trieste than an army, or especially a fleet in Trieste, being able to defend Budapest. So I go with this look, even though I'm hoping to be able to continue working with Russia. And you notice Russian builds an army which could threaten me, but a fleet here in St. Petersburg, maybe something promising more of a German offensive. And my favorite part of this phase, armies built by Turkey, meaning that he is planning to continue his fight against Russia. Also, you notice that France builds fleets in the south, and he had moved a fleet to Spain's south coast, so I was hoping that those French fleets would take some of the pressure off me by forcing Italy to turn around. He doesn't turn around right away. He continues fighting me in Trieste, hoping that simply moving his fleet to Tunis will buy him some time, but seeing that coming, I move my fleet from Albania to the Ionian Sea. So at that point, I really have got a hold on Italy, and I can force some cooperation from him. Germany also comes back and is holding on, is able to take Munich back at the expense of Berlin, but you'll see him kind of fighting it out up there. I won't always talk about it, but you will probably see it happening. So there is a retreat, and then in the fall I finally get Italy to cooperate. I tell him I'm taking Naples and there's nothing he can do about it, and that if he wants me to stop fighting him, he needs to attack Trieste one more time. I wanted to do this 2-2 standoff again so that I could open that up for a fleet build, which I do end up getting here in the fall. And also, I didn't point it out, but you see the Russian unit here. I supported him there against Turkey. So I'm kind of playing both sides of the fence in that fight, which surprisingly enough works out for me in the long run. And again, army builds from Russia and Turkey, still fighting against one another and leaving me for the most part alone. In '03, after helping Russia into Bulgaria, I trade sides again, and I trade Turkey support into Bulgaria for Greece in the fall, which you'll see coming. And I see these Russian units backing up, not so much to fight me. If they were going to do that, they probably would have gone to Bohemia, and then this one down to Galicia. Moving back to consolidate forces, hoping to force Turkey out of Sevastopol. and as a matter of fact, you'll see shortly that my support for Turkey here not very long-lived. I start moving my fleets and my armies westward to quote-unquote help Italy, but I do not forget that he attacked me in the first season. So as we move on, you see me taking Greece, also getting my fleets in the water to fight against Italy slash France in this case, because if I'm going to dominate the Mediterranean, I need all of these fleets out, not just Italy's, but also France's fleets. And so in the fall of this year, I'm able to build an army. Turkey thinks that that's an army to be used against Russia, but you'll see how that actually works out next year. And also another army build from Turkey. I'm loving all his armies. In the fall, a big mishap up here according to Turkey. He thought I was going to be supporting him into Romania. Instead, knowing that he's attacking with 2, I also attack with 2, hold him out. Russia is able to retake Sevastopol, which is quite important for him. And notice also on the other side of things, I am helping Italy by forcing the French fleet in Tyrrhenian out, leaving Naples open for Italy to take in the fall. However, when we get to the fall movement, you'll see rather than supporting Turkey, I take Bulgaria from Turkey and I support Russia into Romania, and Russia able to retake Sevastopol. He had taken it back in the spring. So a huge smack in the face to Turkey really cripples him for the rest of the game. And then also I take in the west Venice and Rome, so taking 2 centers away from Italy and essentially taking him out of the game as well. So a pretty big year for me, and I am able then to build another fleet. Of course I have to build an army on this internal center. And maybe the bigger story of this adjustment phase, the fleet of Turkey disbands, which means Turkey now only has armies and he is stuck in his corner. He can't move out through this kind of choke point, nor can he move out over here. So Italy essentially with his, Turkey essentially with his disband, taking himself out of the game. In 1905, I am able to kind of reposition units. I don't have to do a lot of defending over here. Just 1 unit is enough. I've kind of solidified my agreement with Russia by all the help I gave him last year. And so just kind of repositioning, taking the last of Italy's home centers while France kind of rushes for Tunis. And then also in the fall, able to reposition to avoid this flank in the Mediterranean. It would have been pretty terrible if France had been able to get fleets underneath Italy and then off into the east, so luckily able to avoid that. And you see what looks like it could perhaps be a stab against Russia here. I don't remember if I actually intended it to look that way or not. Like I said, it's been a long time since I played this game. But I do get this unit into Galicia, which can then move up to Cilicia, where it will support the German units there. You see Russia supporting Germany. And we really don't want England or France taking German territories, because then they will just continue to move against us. After the retreat, you see again I get to build a fleet, just continuing to move towards my naval domination plan. So right now I have 4 fleets in the Med compared to France's 2. He will get this 3rd one down there fairly quickly. So there is that. In 06, pretty much just maneuver fleets around. I don't get any builds this year. You see I force France out of the Tyrrhenian Sea in the spring, and then in the fall I am able to move up into the Gulf of Lion and Tyrrhenian Sea and the Ionian, so really getting a nice position here where I'm surrounding France's fleets and kind of slowly pushing them back out through the straits over here. So no build, but very good position, which I think was just as important for me in this season. Moving through into the spring, you see I'm able to force France out of the Western Med, and in the spring of that year, France attempts to call a ceasefire. You see his moves, interestingly enough, all support moves down here. He supports my unit in Western Med, and then North Africa and Tunis supporting one another. He wanted a ceasefire, but he did not want to give me Tunis, and I was unwilling to allow him to stay in the Mediterranean. So I do take Tunis from him, And you see other places just continuing to cycle for position, getting this unit into Prussia so that I can continue to help support Germany as he holds off France and England in the north. I am able to build yet another fleet, my fifth and I believe final fleet, in the adjustment phase of '07. So continuing again my plan for naval domination. It's going fairly well thus far. And finally, I feel like I have enough fleets that I can send a few east so that I can crack into Turkey. I mentioned that he was stuck down there, couldn't get through these two choke points, but without fleets, neither Russia nor I could get into Turkey either. So he had a kind of safe position down there to hold on to his three centers, but no longer. I'm able to move my fleets down there. And again, this is just a year of gaining position. You see I force France out of the Mediterranean finally. And then in the fall, I don't get any builds, but I have this kind of stalemate position locked in. Got units spread from Switzerland down to this corner, so no one can get into the Mediterranean. I have these units holding the line against the combined force of France and England, so keeping Germany safe and thus keeping myself safe. And this position down here, again, keeping Turkey out of my center. So my only weak spot is this middle section here between Russia and I, but Russian units are a decent distance away. The only one that could hit any of my centers in 1 year being Sevastopol, and I also have this unit here kind of sitting on top of Warsaw, so a Russian attack on me very unlikely to succeed in any real way. So I feel very safe and very good about my position in the fall of '08, and then in '09 really able to break across those lines. Here you see I am able to start cracking into Turkey. And over here I was very happy to get myself out of the Mediterranean and into the mid-Atlantic Ocean. I do take Marseille in the spring, but I'll just lose it in the fall, so nothing terribly exciting there. Now you see here in the fall able to cut support from Smyrna, so I do take Constantinople, and I am able to hold the mid-Atlantic, which is pretty important to me. And finally, after building so many fleets in years past, I go with an army. Again, 5 fleets I felt like was enough to accomplish what I needed, and the rest of the units I would want on the ground. In the 1910 year, I am able, with the help of Russia, to take Ankara, and I will set him up to then take Smyrna in the fall. You see over here as well, continuing to support Germany, and Germany makes some progress, taking back the last of his home centers. So that's fairly exciting for him. Also, you see, because of a French NMR, I'm able to get a fleet into the south coast of Spain. So taking a couple territories in the spring of 1910, which I am able to hold on to in the fall turn, even though France comes back with a vengeance. So Turkey eliminated, finally, after 10 years, and gaining a build both from there and from Iberia. So 2 more units for me, and this is a point of contention. I actually build 2 armies. Russia thought I should only build 1 and just leave 1 build unused, thinking that these armies would only be able to be used against him. And quite frankly, that is the plan. I only need Marseille and Portugal, and the other territories that I want or need were Romania, Smyrna, and Sevastopol, all of which were Russian centers. So his fears were not misplaced, but I don't listen to him because I'm much larger than he is at this point. So you see in the spring, continuing to try to push my way into these last 2 centers in the west, and moving against Russia up into Galicia, trying to take Romania, and shuffling these units around in the south so that I can eventually use them to hit Smyrna. That, as you can imagine, doesn't go over terribly well with Russia. He was not thrilled about those maneuvers. But there's not really a ton he can do. I have this great position set up here in the north. I am able finally in the west, you see, to take Marseille, so I will be getting another build from that. And also I am able to surround and take Romania. So even though I made Russia mad by my build in 1910, nothing he can do about it, and I gained 2 more builds in 1911. And I'm very, very close to taking the win that I want, only 3 centers away. So I am able to build 2 more armies, and at this point I talk to Russia. I convince him to back out of Turkey. He realizes, I think, that I'm in a very strong position, and I tell him if he backs out and gives me Smyrna, that is the last of his territories I will take. And so he does agree to that. I do push my way forward into Cilicia, you'll see that here, just in case he doesn't actually take my advice, do what I asked. But he does, you see he backs down here, and so in the fall you'll see me take Smyrna. Also still kind of vying for position here. Portugal ends up being a tough nut to crack, as it were, but I cycle armies around so that I can remove this pesky army from Gascony, which will then allow me, I think, to take Portugal. And in the fall, I'm really set up for whatever type of win I want. I'm poised not only to take Portugal, but also to walk into Paris, to take perhaps Munich, surrounding Warsaw, so I could take that, and also Smyrna here. So I have access to 5 open centers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yep, but I only need 3 of them. So France sees that and just doesn't move, so I end up taking Portugal from him. As agreed, I take Smyrna from Russia, and then I just walk into Paris rather than taking Sevastopol. So although this is not exactly how I planned it, it is fairly close. The only difference between this and my initial plan is I took Paris instead of Sevastopol. But I didn't have to deal with any southern Russian fleets, which was the only reason I wanted Sevastopol. So a very successful game, 18th center victory in 12 years, and was able to accomplish, I'll say, exactly what I set out to do. So a lot of fun to play. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them. I'd love to hear them, and thanks for watching.